Whether you notice it or not, it shows up in your posture, in your tone, in the way you talk about love, in the way you expect the next person to disappoint you. That's why healing is not just emotional, it's energetic. You don't just feel better, you vibrate differently. When you start redesigning your energy, you're not doing it for anyone else. You're not trying to be more attractive to them or more appealing to anyone watching. You're doing it because you're tired of carrying heaviness that isn't even yours anymore. You're tired of being drained by memories, by what-ifs, by versions of yourself that you've already outgrown. You're tired of apologizing for being too much or not enough. Energy shifts the moment you decide to stop waiting for someone to fix what they broke. You stop looking at them and start looking within, not in a cheesy self-help kind of way, but in a quiet, steady, real way. You wake up and ask yourself, what do I need today? And then you give it to yourself without guilt. That's how energy gets cleaned up. It's not loud. It's not always obvious, but people feel it. They feel when you stop being accessible in the way you used to be. They feel when you're no longer running on empty just to stay in their life. They feel when your presence becomes a choice, not a given. You begin to carry yourself differently. Not because you're trying to prove a point, but because you've actually changed. You're grounded now, rooted, not easily shaken. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't explain yourself to people who aren't trying to understand you. That shift, that peace, it speaks louder than any comeback post ever could. The truth is, most people are addicted to chaos. They don't know what to do with someone who's actually healed. So when you start to protect your energy, some people will leave. Let them. That's part of the redesign. You're not losing people, you're losing noise. And when the noise is gone, your real self rises. The version of you who doesn't settle. The version of you who knows her value without needing it validated. The version who walks into rooms and doesn't wonder if she's enough. She knows she is. Everything around you carries a piece of your energy. Your room, your clothes, the messages you've saved, the songs you keep playing on repeat. It's all connected. When someone breaks your heart, it's not just emotional, it spreads into your space. That's why healing isn't just something you do in your mind. It has to show up in your environment too. When you start cleaning your space, you're not just moving things around, you're clearing out energy that's been stuck. That sweatshirt you keep even though it reminds you of him. That playlist that pulls you back into memories. That drawer full of what-ifs and maybes. All of it holds weight. You don't even realize how heavy until you start letting go. And this isn't about pretending he never existed. It's about choosing what gets to stay in your space physically, emotionally, spiritually. If it doesn't bring you peace, it doesn't belong. If it doesn't support the version of you you're becoming, it's already expired. Your room isn't just a room. It's where you cry. It's where you remember. It's where you try to forget. So make it sacred. Make it light. Let the sun in. Open the windows. Burn the candle you were saving. Fold the laundry you've been avoiding. Play music that lifts you up instead of pulling you down. These small things, they're not small. They're rituals. They're reminders that you're back in control. And it's not just about stuff, it's the people you let in, the conversations you entertain, the energy you allow near you. Some people only come to drain. Some spaces only echo your pain back to you. You've got to notice. You've got to protect what you're rebuilding. You don't have to make some big announcement. You just start making quiet choices. You clean out your phone. You unfollow. You delete. Not out of bitterness, but out of love for your peace. And slowly, your space becomes a reflection of your healing. You walk into your room and feel calm instead of chaos. You sit with yourself and feel still instead of scattered. The energy you live in starts to support you instead of pull you back. This is how you build something steady. You don't wait for the big moment. You begin in your space. You take care of it. You take care of yourself inside of it. And every time you do, you're telling the universe and yourself that you're ready for more. There comes a point where you have to stop talking about what they did and start focusing on what you're doing now. The story isn't what happened to you. The story is how you rise from it. But the mind gets stuck. It replays old conversations, old messages, old moments like a broken record. That's because part of you is still waiting for something. Maybe an apology. maybe understanding, maybe just a feeling that it all made sense. But here's the truth. You don't get stronger by analyzing what broke you over and over. You get stronger by rewriting the narrative, by choosing not to be defined by someone who didn't see your value, didn't show up for you, or couldn't love you right. Their actions are a reflection of them. Your reaction, your next chapter, that's all you. And rewriting your narrative doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It means you're no longer letting that pain be the loudest voice in the room. You start shifting the story from he left me to I found me, from he changed to I grew, from he let go to I held on to myself. That shift is where your power lives. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to stop giving the past a front row seat in your present. Because every time you tell yourself the same story about being abandoned, betrayed, or not chosen, you're reinforcing a version of yourself that doesn't exist anymore. You've changed, you've cried, you've healed, you've learned. Let the story change too. You're not a victim, you're not broken. You're not hard to love, you're just in a season of becoming, and that's not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like waking up and deciding not to text him back. Sometimes it looks like choosing peace over closure. Every time you take back your narrative, you take back your power. You start speaking differently, walking differently, not for show, but because you finally believe you deserve more. And the beautiful thing is, when you stop focusing on what they did, you open space to create something new, a new rhythm, a new way of loving yourself, a new standard. You stop reacting and start creating. This is your story, not theirs. And from this moment on, you get to choose how it's told. You get to become the version of you who no longer needs someone else to explain why they didn't stay. Some people never give you closure because they know the silence will haunt you more than their words ever could. And maybe you've been stuck in that space, refreshing your messages, waiting for some grand explanation, hoping one day they'll realize what they did and finally say what you've been needing to hear. But the truth is, closure is rarely given, it's created. You don't need someone to explain why they chose to hurt you, why they ghosted you, why they changed so suddenly. That's their journey, their unhealed wounds, their confusion, not yours to carry. And waiting for that apology, that moment of clarity, only keeps you tied to a story that's already over. You're not moving forward because you're still hoping the last page will suddenly rewrite itself. But what if you didn't wait anymore? What if closure didn't have to come in a neat conversation? What if it came in your quiet acceptance, in realizing that you can walk away without answers and still be okay? Closure isn't about getting the truth from them. It's about choosing peace without it. It's about saying, even if I never know why, I'm still going to heal. I'm still going to grow. I'm still going to let this go. That kind of closure. It's more powerful than any apology they could ever give. Because now you're not healing on their terms, you're healing on your own. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do is let the question go unanswered. Not because it doesn't matter, but because it no longer controls you. The truth is, if someone could leave without a word, without trying to fix what they broke, that already is your answer. You just have to stop looking for a better one. And yes, it's hard. Your heart wants something to hold on to, something that makes it all make sense. But maybe healing isn't about making sense of someone else's actions. Maybe it's about making peace with your own, the way you loved, the way you showed up, the way you stayed real even when it hurt. That's something to be proud of, not something to regret. So you don't wait for the apology. You write it to yourself for all the times you didn't know better, for all the moments you gave more than you had, for all the chances you offered when they didn't deserve them. That's how closure happens, not when they come back, but when you come back to yourself. There's a moment where you stop trying to fix the past and start building the future. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours, and that's how you really take your power back. You build something, not to prove anything to them, but to reconnect with yourself. When you put your energy into something that grows, a project, a routine, a business, your body, your peace, you shift from reaction to creation. You stop asking, why did they leave me? And start asking, what can I create from this pain? That shift changes everything. Because now your story isn't about being left. It's about what you did next. And it doesn't have to be something the world sees. Maybe it's waking up early and going for a walk. Maybe it's finally starting that book idea. Maybe it's redecorating your space or learning something new. These things might look small, but they hold meaning. Because they're yours, they're not tied to him. They're not based on anyone else's validation. When you build something, you create movement. Movement is what gets you unstuck. You start looking forward instead of back. You start dreaming again. And the more you create, the more you realize you were never broken. You just needed something that made you feel alive again. This is where your confidence starts to rebuild. Not in your appearance, not in likes or messages, but in seeing yourself commit to something, stick with it, and watch it grow. That kind of confidence doesn't fade, because it's not based on anyone else. It's rooted in you. You don't heal by waiting for time to pass. You heal by filling that time with purpose, something you care about, something that reflects who you're becoming. The pain doesn't vanish overnight, but it softens. It starts to feel like fuel instead of weight. Some people never rebuild after heartbreak because they stay in that loop, waiting, watching, hurting. But you take the pain and do something with it. You plant it, you water it, and eventually you grow something so powerful that even you are surprised by what rises from it. It's not about revenge. It's not about being better than him. It's about building a life that feels good to wake up to, a life that makes you proud. A life where the person who once broke you couldn't even find a place anymore because you've grown beyond the version of you who waited for them. You want him crawling back? Don't aim for that. Aim higher. Aim for the life where his return isn't even relevant anymore. And if he does come back, cool. Let him watch the show from the audience this time. You're not his sequel. You're the whole damn legend.